The story begins many years in the future. A massive media corporation called the Network now rules over America. Most people live in extreme poverty, unable to afford treatment even for minor illnesses. To distract the public from their misery, the network hosts several twisted game shows. The most famous among them is called The Running Man. In this show, players must survive for 30 days while deadly hunters track them down. If someone survives, they win $1 billion. But to this day, no one has ever reached the end. We are then introduced to a man named Ben, who has just lost his job. Because he supported forming a workers' union, he was blacklisted, and now, no one will hire him. His daughter, Kathy, is very ill, and Ben desperately needs money for her medicine. His wife, Sheila, returns home late and tells him she's taking an extra shift at a bar to earn more. Ben hates the idea because of the dangerous crowd there. He tells her not to worry, promising he will enter a game show and bring back the money. Sheila is terrified because players often get brutally injured, but Ben swears he'll be fine and will choose the lowest risk show. Ben leaves his slum and reaches the high-security fence of the wealthy district. He tells the guards he is there for a network show, and they let him in. At the station, there is a long line of poor people hoping to be selected. An old man next to him looks extremely sick, but out of desperation, he keeps insisting he is fit to play. When the old man finally collapses, Ben catches him and screams for help. Instead of helping, the guards scold Ben for breaking the line and beat him back into place. At the front desk, Ben discovers his file has been flagged for disobedience. In a fit of rage, he punches the computer screen. He is given a tracking bracelet and sent to Elevator 6. There, he meets Tim and Yoni, who try to strike up a friendship. They are all given uniforms and put through grueling physical tests, like crawling through saws and sprinting. Ben even helps Tim get through the exhaustion. During a break, a guard tries to punish Ben, but Ben fearlessly blocks the attack. After more psychological testing, the doctors note that Ben is the most aggressive player they've seen. Those who make it to the final round are given colorful jumpsuits. Ben, Tim, and Yoni receive red jumpsuits with targets on the back, meaning they have been chosen for the Running Man. Ben meets the producer, Dan, and demands a different game. Dan offers him a $1,000 bonus to change his mind, reminding him that no other show pays this much. You're blacklisted, Ben. You'll never find a job. Think of your family, Dan says. Thinking of his daughter, Ben finally signs the contract. Next, Ben meets an agent from Family Alliance. Per the contract, the network will provide security for Ben's family in a safe house under fake names. Ben wants to see them before the game starts, but he is only allowed one phone call. He calls Sheila and tells her, "I'm doing the Running Man, don't worry, I'm coming back a winner." That night, Ben is kept in a forced luxury room. The agent brings him an envelope from Sheila containing a family photo and one of Kathy's small socks for good luck. The next morning, Ben receives a running band that displays his remaining time and money earned. The show begins, and the host, Bobby, calls Ben onto the stage. Bobby lies to the live audience, claiming Ben was a former defense security worker caught selling national secrets. They even play a fake AI-generated video to prove it. Ben tries to deny it, but Bobby ignores him. The world thinks the Running Man is a way to punish criminals, unaware that the players are just desperate people risking their lives for their families. Even ordinary citizens get paid if they report a player's location. When Bobby asks for his final words, Ben insults both Bobby and the audience. "I'm going to survive, and then I'm going to burn this building down," he declares. Bobby then explains the rules. Everyone gets a $1,000 advance and a 12-hour head start. For 12 hours, they can hide anywhere without being hunted. 5 deadly hunters will be released the following day. Every player must record 10 minutes of video daily and drop the tape in a designated box before midnight. If they miss a tape, the payments stop, but the hunt continues. Finally, the 3 players are sent down separate elevators into a dark room. There, Ben finds a camera, some cash, and a set of normal clothes to begin his run. Ben changes his clothes and leaves the building immediately. He quickly hails a taxi, but the driver recognizes him and asks for a selfie. When Ben refuses, the driver gets angry and warns him, "You better be nice to people or they'll report your location." After all, there's a bounty on your head. Ben gets out of the car soon after and starts running. He eventually reaches an abandoned building where his old friend, Molly, lives. Molly is a specialist who creates items for the black market. Ben asks him for 2 fake IDs and a gun. Molly is furious because Ben is part of the game. "People are looking for you. Why did you come here to put my business at risk?" he shouts. After a brief argument and hearing about Kathy's condition, Molly agrees to help. Ben changes his appearance and takes the fake IDs. Molly packs his gear into a suitcase and gives him a warning: stay away from the poor neighborhoods. Desperate people will report you for the reward money. Go somewhere crowded. Molly adds that if Ben had told him earlier about his struggles, he would have hired him as an assistant. But now, Molly says, if you want to stay alive, you have to win the game. The next morning, Ben goes to the train station. Posters of the 3 players are everywhere. Ben buys a ticket to New York and boards the train. Just as the train starts moving, his bracelet announces that the hunt has officially begun. A child approaches Ben to talk. Ben scares him away, only to realize the kid just wanted to tell him his fake mustache was falling off. In New York, Ben checks into a nice hotel. The receptionist notices that the ID photo has a mustache, but Ben doesn't. Once in his room, Ben reveals his true face, covers the walls, and records his daily video while he sleeps. That evening, he drops his tape into the collection box. At midnight, his bracelet confirms that he has received his first-day survival bonus. Meanwhile, the hunters capture and torture Molly until he reveals the name on Ben's fake ID. Back at the hotel, Ben wakes up hoping this was all a bad dream. On the TV, the news shows a camera following Tim. Tim is seen flirting with a shop clerk, but the moment he steps outside, the hunters find him easily and shoot him directly in the head. Realizing the danger, Ben rents the room for 3 more days but decides to leave. He stuffs his belongings into a normal bag and drops it into a trash container outside the window. He walks out of the hotel looking like a regular person, picks up his bag, and catches a bus to Boston. In Boston, he buys old clothes and a hostel room key from a homeless man to stay off the grid. Ben sneaks into the hostel and enters the elevator, failing to notice the out-of-service sign. The elevator gets stuck between floors. Ben manages to climb out and reach the 3rd floor where his room is located. Inside a box in the closet, he finds chewing gum, cigarettes, and a grenade. He records his video, and his bracelet reminds him to drop the tape. However, the area around the drop box is crowded. Ben prepares to take a shower in the common bathroom. As he thinks about the box, a face from the crowd outside flashes in his mind. It was a hunter. The hunters are now heading upstairs. Someone opens the bathroom door, and Ben hides. A hunter reaches the 3rd floor and begins checking the rooms. As soon as the hunter moves on, Ben slips back into the bathroom and tries the window, but it's locked. He realizes he can't leave without his bag. Ben pulls an iron rod from the wall and breaks the glass. Using the chewing gum, he sticks pieces of mirror to the rod. He uses this improvised periscope to check the hunters' positions in the corridor. As they approach his room, Ben sneaks to the stairs and shouts, "Hey! The guy from the TV show just ran to the 2nd floor. Somebody catch him." Instead of going down, Ben runs to the roof. He grabs a cable from a glowing neon sign and starts sliding down. He reaches his window, breaks back into his room, grabs his gear, and gets dressed just as the hunters begin shooting through his door. Ben jumps out the window and grabs another cable. The sign begins to tilt precariously, and Ben sees a hunter waiting for him to fall. Left with no choice, he breaks through the window of a nearby room. A network drone is still following him. Ben sprints through the corridor with hunters firing at him. He reaches an elevator, grabs the drone, and smashes it into the control panel. The recording stops, and the elevator starts working again. In the lobby, a hunter attacks him, but Ben quickly pulls his grenade and tosses it through a hole in the ceiling. The explosion is massive, sending the elevator crashing straight into the basement. Ben is left with nothing but a single matchstick. To get more light, he sets a magazine on fire. As he walks, he accidentally ignites a rope, causing the fire to spread rapidly. With hunters blocking the corridor, Ben barricades the door with furniture and follows a trail of rats into the sewer system. The hunters fire blindly into the darkness, hitting a gas pipe. This triggers a second violent explosion in the basement. As flames engulf the tunnel, Ben is forced to dive into the sewer water. The entire building is leveled in the blast. When Ben emerges onto the street, he encounters a boy named Stacy. Ben threatens him to keep quiet, but Stacy insists he wants to help. Checking his bracelet, Ben realizes many people died in the blast, which has ironically earned him a massive amount of blood money as a survival bonus. Shortly after, Stacy returns with his brother, Brad, who takes Ben home and feeds him. Brad also has a sick child at home, but he refuses to take any money from Ben. He despises the network and wants nothing to do with their currency. Brad shows Ben his secret media room, where he records analyses of the Running Man episodes to post online. He explains that once a player is spotted by the public, it's over. Brad urges Ben to stay hidden with them and plan for the final days of the game. The next morning, Ben learns about the atrocities happening in the district, crimes the government ignores and covers up. Enraged, Ben records a video telling the public that the government is killing their children and doesn't care about the people. Later, during the broadcast, the host Bobby appears with several children, claiming they were orphaned by Ben's explosion. He plays Ben's tape, but it has been heavily edited to make it look like Ben is mocking the children. Ben tries to explain that the video is a fake, but Brad's mother becomes hysterical with rage and kicks Ben out of the house. Despite this, Brad and Stacy still want to help. They hide Ben in the trunk of their car to smuggle him out. Everything seems fine until bullets hit the trunk. Two bikers are in pursuit. Ben pops the trunk and throws a heavy tool at a biker's face, knocking him off. As the other biker continues firing, Ben hides back inside while Brad slams on the brakes. The bikers can't stop in time and crash into the car, allowing Brad to drive over them and finish them off. Brad drops Ben off at the city limits, giving him a gun and the address of a friend named Elton. After a short train journey, Ben hides in another hotel. He watches the news and sees his latest tape, edited again. Knowing the network will twist anything he says, he records his next video simply reading a book. Bobby also shows Yoni's tape, where she is seen partying at a club. Ben goes to drop off his tape in disguise, but a suspicious mailman spots him. The mailman records Ben on his phone under the guise of talking to him. Ben lunges at him, attacks, drops the tape in the box, and flees. A car chases him into the woods. Ben scales a fence and barely leaps onto a moving train as the mailman fires at him. Later, Ben disguises himself as a man with a limp and blends into a crowd watching the show on a street screen. On the screen, Yoni is caught at a casino. As she tries to escape in a car, two people set the vehicle on fire, and she dies in the blast. Ben finally meets Elton, who lives with his mentally unstable mother. Elton warns Ben not to pay her much mind and takes him to a secret basement where he prints anti-network pamphlets. Elton's father was a cop killed by his own men for speaking out against the system. Since then, Elton has been a rebel. Elton warns Ben that the street lamps are equipped with DNA scanners. He suggests Ben hide in a Cold War-era bunker built by his father. Elton's plan is for Ben to win the game and then use his newfound fame to help print and distribute the rebel newsletter. Ben records his tape in the bunker. The next morning, as he leaves to deliver it, Elton's mother sees him. She recognizes him instantly and tries to report him. Elton stops her, but then, consumed by a misguided desire for revenge for his father, he calls the police himself. Within minutes, the house is surrounded. Police fire through the walls. As the mother tries to shout out their exact location, Elton locks her in a room to protect Ben. In a desperate move, Elton activates all his booby traps. As the police storm inside, Elton releases water onto electric wires running across the floor. Several officers are instantly hit by a massive electric shock. Taking advantage of the chaos, Elton and Ben break through a secret wall and escape. As the police pursue them, they trigger Elton's secondary traps, which douse the officers in chemicals and set them on fire. Another trap on the staircase causes the wood to collapse, sending the officers crashing down. Elton leads Ben to the bathroom, where they slide down a hidden pole inside the shower to reach the lower level. In the next room, Elton opens a secret trapdoor leading to a tunnel. However, a hunter is already waiting there. He stabs Elton with a knife and turns his attack on Ben. During the struggle, Ben's hand is sliced, but he manages to disarm the hunter. A wounded Elton grabs the knife and stabs the hunter in the leg, bringing him down. Suddenly, the hunter's phone rings. It's Dan, the producer, who wants to talk to Ben. Ben asks, "If you have all this high-end technology, why don't you just fake the entire show?" Dan replies, "Do you think we haven't tried? But AI-generated people aren't as entertaining as the real thing, they lack personality." Dan then orders Ben to kill the hunter so the drones can record it for higher ratings. Ben refuses and shoots the drone instead. Ben and Elton crash through a gate in a car and head toward the forest. A helicopter begins tailing them. Elton, realizing he's slowing Ben down, tells him to leave him and head for the shelter. Suddenly, a sniper from the helicopter fires a clean shot, killing Elton instantly. Two hunters surround Ben but are ordered not to shoot. The command is clear: capture him alive so he can be executed on live camera. Knowing the car is rigged with explosives, Ben drives it onto a bridge and jumps out at the last second. The car collides with a hunter and explodes. Ben falls into the river, and his bracelet rings. He's just earned another massive bonus for taking out a hunter. After trekking through fields and villages, Ben finally reaches the bunker location. To his horror, he finds the government has demolished the bunker to build a new city. Ben spends the night in an abandoned house, dreaming of his family, a memory that gives him the strength to keep fighting. When the police arrive at the house, they find Ben's latest tape with a simple note: "Mail this." On the road, Ben smashes the window of the first car he sees and gets inside. He threatens the driver, a girl named Amelia, and orders her to drive. Drones and police are hot on their tail. After weaving through traffic, Amelia pulls a dangerous U-turn into oncoming traffic, successfully losing their pursuers for a moment. During the drive, Amelia hurls insults at Ben, calling him a low-life criminal. Ben shows her the photo of his family and explains how the network uses fake videos to hide the truth. Suddenly, the car's AI is hacked, forcing them to pull over. Two hunters arrive in a truck to capture Ben, but a network drone fires on them, blowing up their truck. It's clear: Dan is keeping Ben alive just to keep the show interesting. On the news, a fake video shows Amelia screaming for help. Seeing the lie with her own eyes, Amelia finally believes Ben. As they move forward, they see civilians on the roadside cheering for them. They eventually hit a roadblock led by the head hunter, Evan. With drones recording every move, Ben bluffs, claiming he has a bomb that will kill everyone on national TV. He demands a plane and 2 parachutes. Evan is ordered to accept the deal. At the airport, Ben tells Amelia she can leave, but she stays. She wants the truth to come out. On the plane, Ben demands Evan remove his mask. When Dan gives the order, Evan reluctantly reveals his face to the cameras. Ben knows the pilots aren't ordinary, they are there to kill him. He orders them to fly to Canada or he'll blow the plane. During the flight, Ben taunts Evan for killing innocent people. As a fight breaks out, Amelia plays along with the bomb drama. Dan appears on the screen, laughing. The plane has been scanned. We know there is no bomb. Evan prepares to shoot Ben, but the pilots suddenly turn their guns on Evan. Dan scolds Evan because he wants Ben to die in a more spectacular way. Then, Dan offers Ben a private deal: kill Evan and the pilots, and you can become our new lead hunter. You'll earn millions every year. Ben refuses. In a final, cold-blooded move, Dan plays a video showing that Ben's wife, Sheila, and daughter, Kathy, have already been killed by the hunters. Here is the clean, professionally translated, and timestamp-free English script for the grand finale of your movie recap. I have corrected the spelling of names, Amelia, Bobby, Elton, and improved the vocabulary to give it a cinematic impact. Flick Fast presents The Running Man, The Final Revolution. Seeing the video of his family, Ben loses all control. Consumed by rage, he screams and smashes the laptop to pieces. Meanwhile, Amelia turns on her screen and sees Bobby broadcasting the clip of Ben's family. Bobby claims that the hunters were so provoked by Ben that they broke all the rules and murdered his family. This revelation flips the script, Suddenly, the entire national audience is on Ben's side. One of the pilots tries to pull a gun on Ben, but Ben is faster. He shoots the pilot and uses his body as a human shield as the second pilot opens fire. A chaotic brawl erupts in the cockpit, and Ben begins fighting like a man possessed. During the struggle, the plane loses stability and begins to plummet. After a desperate fight, Ben regains control of the weapon and fires a clean shot into the hunter's head. The network remote overrides the plane's controls, leveling it off just in time. Ben eventually tracks down Evan, who was hiding in a hatch. Evan launches a surprise attack, and the two engage in a brutal fight. In his fury, Ben slams Evan's head against a glass pane. Evan retaliates by stabbing Ben in the stomach with a jagged shard of broken glass. Evan mocks him, revealing that he was once a player who survived for 29 days before the network offered him a deal to become a hunter. He warns Ben that the network will torture families just to get what they want, and that the footage of his family's death was likely a fake meant to manipulate him. Before Evan can deliver the killing blow, the plane swerves sharply. The bullet misses Ben and shatters a window instead, causing the plane to lose pressure and dive rapidly. Ben realizes Evan is trying to escape with a stolen parachute. As Evan prepares to jump, Ben pulls the release handle, causing the parachute to tangle in the broken window. Taking advantage of the moment, Ben finishes Evan off with a knife. Ben then turns to Amelia. He hands her a bag filled with Elton's Rebel newsletters, opens the hatch, and sends her out with the remaining parachute. As a drone follows her down, Amelia insults the camera and scatters the newsletters into the wind, spreading the truth across the city. Back at the studio, Dan desperately announces that Ben has become the new lead hunter to save face. However, Ben speaks directly into the cockpit camera, telling the audience that the network controls society by keeping them entertained. "Stop watching," he commands. "Fight back against those in power." The network quickly cuts the signal, and Dan immediately edits the footage to make it look like Ben is intentionally crashing the plane into a crowded station. The public watches in horror as the plane explodes in the sky. Some time later, Brad records a new analysis of the episode. He points out several inconsistencies in the footage, proving the government's version is a lie. Enraged, the public recovers the plane's black box, and the original, unedited video is leaked online. Ben's speech and Elton's newsletters spark a massive revolution. Brad also notices that the plane's auto-eject seat is missing, hinting that Ben might still be alive. In a quiet market, we see Sheila and Kathy. They are perfectly fine, living a comfortable life with the money Ben earned. As they step outside, they are stunned to find Ben waiting for them. Meanwhile, at the TV station, Bobby is terrified by the angry mob outside and quits his job. When Dan tries to take the stage, the crowd begins pelting him with explosives. Rebels storm the building, reclaiming it from the corporation. Dan tries to flee but trips and gets tangled in a mess of cables. Out of the smoke and fire, Ben emerges. He looks Dan in the eye and fires a final shot into the producer's head, officially ending the corrupt system once and for all. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe to Flick Fast. See you